Welcome to Mr. H on YouTube. It is time again for questions and answers. So I've got several different questions from all of our classes, and I'm here to answer some of them. So let's go ahead and get started. First question is about World War II, our World War II video. Why did the Allied powers refuse to let Austria join Germany? And I'm going to give a little context. So in our previous video, which was about German rearmament, after World War I, the Allies had refused to let Austria join Germany. This was a couple different reasons. Number one, it was seen as a punishment. There was a great desire amongst a lot of German Austrians to join in and create a new, greater German state. The other thing is that they also wanted to punish the Germans who had just lost a lot of territory, and there was no need for them to have a second great territorial gain. So big combination of punishment. Okay. Why didn't the Allies stop Hitler? Basically, the Allies were unprepared. They were not ready for war, and they would not be ready until about 1939. Even then, their industrial output and tactics weren't ready until 1941. So basically, the whole appeasement process was to allow the Allies time to prepare, give Hitler what he wants so that they can prepare for an eventual war with Germany. That's one theory on whether appeasement works or not. Okay, why did Hitler want to target a non-imperialized country instead of one that did have imperialism? Now, this one is actually a really fascinating question, and the student who asked this question, please let me know if I misinterpret your question. I'm going to assume you meant, why did Hitler start conquering Europeans and not, for instance, like try to expand in Africa? A couple of reasons. Africa, by this point, had been divided up into huge swaths of European colonies. There were only two independent African states. That was Ethiopia, which was being conquered by the Italians, and a nation called Liberia on the west coast. Liberia had been founded by freed American slaves as part of a policy in the 1820s to send African slaves to Africa. So if Hitler had tried to, for instance, attack Liberia, the Americans would be against them, which Hitler did not want. And then of course, the Europeans would fight against him if he tried to conquer their colonies. So instead, he goes and looks to areas in Europe. And this was part of Hitler's kind of grand master strategy. This was something called Lebensraum, which in German translation to English means living space. Okay, Lebensraum is living space. And so as we go through World War II, you see that for the most part, he's looking to create kind of a new area of European territory for Germans to live in and farm and settle. And he would basically push out any Poles, Jews, Hungarians, all those people who are non-German out. The Slavic people that lived in Eastern Europe. This was in response to Britain's model of colonizing around the world. Hitler, on the other hand, basically did a similar colonization of Europe itself. Turning over to our Musa video, got some questions about that one, which I encourage you to watch if you haven't watched it yet. What happens if a Muslim doesn't go to Mecca once in their lifetime? So in the Quran, it states that if you are physically and financially able to go, you must go to make the Hajj, which is the trip to Mecca. It's the Quran states that Muslims who are unable to, because of financial or physical reasons, are permitted. but if a Muslim is not does not go to Mecca and perform the Hajj pilgrimage, then it's a bit of a problem, and it impacts their spiritual life. How old was Mansa Musa when he became king? He was a younger king because he had been named regent when the old king had gone. We don't have a perfect knowledge of the years, however. Why did Mansa Musa spend so much money? One of the Muslim tenets is to also be charitable, give to the poor. Musa basically thought that he was following his Islamic beliefs by giving so much money. How old would Mansa Musa be today? Well, he was around in the 1200s and 1300s, so he'd be about 800 years old, so pretty old. If Mansa Musa gave gold to the poor, did he give gold to the slaves too? Not really. It was mostly to free people. Who was Mansa Musa's successor? We're not entirely sure there, because you can go on and look up a little bit about Mansa Musa, but one thing to keep in mind is that most of Mansa Musa's legacy is, for the most part, shrouded in a lot of mystery. Mansa Musa then dies of old age, and here is a question from our What If Theodore Roosevelt had won in 1912. So if you haven't watched that one, go back and take a look at that one. I'm pretty proud of that one. That one's a fun video. I'm curious to know, how did Wilson win? So in actual election 1912, Wilson won, and it came down, actually it was kind of Roosevelt's fault that Wilson won. After he lost the Republican nomination, he decided to run a third-party candidate known as the Bull Moose Party. It was the Progressive Party. And what this did was it split the Republican vote. During this time period, Republicans had a major majority in a lot of key states. For instance, like California, New York, Pennsylvania, Illinois, they were all Republican states at the time. Kind of weird to say out loud. But when it came to time, the Republican voters chose between Theodore Roosevelt or Taft. And so basically Wilson didn't win a majority. He won a plurality, which means he won the most votes, but it wasn't over 50%. But according to the Electoral College, he still won the majority of the electoral vote, even though on average he won about like 45% of the vote in most of the states that he won. And so that's all the questions that we have for today. Thank you so much for the great questions, guys. Don't forget to like and subscribe to Mr. H on YouTube and share this video around, and let's see if we can get some more great questions. For Friday, I have some plans to make some videos for you guys, but I'm going to leave it up to a choice for you. Do you want another what if video? Comment with what topic you'd like in the what if video. B, would you like a video of a tour of my house and see what it's like living in the Mr. H YouTube studio? Or C, would you like me to make a random video about a topic that I just love and I get to choose it? Okay? A, B, or C, comment with your suggestions for the video down below, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye!